So it's that like I said, it's the best is to wait until the end, and then we will talk about it. But then with your karta pobytu, with your TRC card, you will be able to travel back and forth. Yeah, so there's no problem. Yeah, and as like we were talking about the purposes of the visa, also the same comes with the temporary permit of stay. So you have the reasons for which you get the temporary permit of stay, and you have to meet those reasons, those grants of your stay during the whole time. So, for example, like with the work, when you get your temporary permit of stay due to working, you have to be working the whole time, or you get your temporary permit of stay because you are a student, so you have to be studying the whole time. Okay, you cannot just interrupt it and, for example, be you cannot like stop working and do nothing. Yes, because then the Polish authorities will see that you don't meet anymore the reasons for which you got the visa, the temporary permit of stay, so they can revoke it. Yeah, they can take it back from you. Yeah, and also it says here that what I already mentioned at the beginning, that you cannot obtain the residence permit related to work if you arrived on a tourist visa, visiting family visa, or also the seasonal work visa. So this short visa that you get if you're, for example, working in agriculture. Yeah, this very, very short visa. Yes. Okay. We said that it takes long time to receive the decision. I put it here how it says in the law. So in the law it says that all the procedures should finish within 60 days. But the problem is it doesn't count from the moment when you actually submitted the application. So when you send by post the form that you filled, it only counts from the moment when the authorities decide that you already filled that you completed all the deficiencies in the form, and you gave your fingerprints and everything. So only from that moment, the period of 60 days counts. Okay. So I know what is very, very problematic here in Warsaw office, in voivodeship office, is that you actually wait long time to give the fingerprints. Yes, and probably you heard about it. Maybe it's your situation, your friend's situation, that you're waiting for a long time, and there are no legal tools to speed it up. Okay, unfortunately the authorities are very they're working a lot. There are a lot of people applying for a permit of stay, and I think it's also very important to remember that if some of the companies which helps, for example, you to get a temporary permit of stay, tells you that they can do it quicker, I wouldn't believe them, because they don't have reasons, they don't have ways to speed it up. Okay, there is something like this in Polish law, I don't know how to translate it, but to speed it up, like the motion to speed up procedures. But currently, in the current legal situation, it doesn't work. Like because after the outbreak of the Ukrainian war, they said that you cannot write these kind of letters to speed up the procedures. Okay, so even if you write the letter to speed up the procedures, they will say, okay, but we don't have the obligation to actually accept your request to speed it up. Okay, so of course, in some of the personal situation, you can try to write this kind of letter, and it might speed something up, but it's not the obligation in the law that it has to be speeded up. Okay, the procedure. And yeah, you have to pay 340 or 440 zloty for the application. And like I said, when you receive the decision, like I was saying about the address, yeah, that you always have to inform the authorities about the address. And this is especially crucial when you receive the negative decision. Okay, so imagine that you received the negative decision, but you didn't know about it because you didn't tell the authorities that you have changed your address, and they sent the negative decision to your previous address where you are not checking the mails anymore. And the fourth, and it is like this by the Polish law that this decision waits for you in the closest post office for 14 days, 2 weeks. In two weeks it waits for you. But if you don't pick it up during 2 weeks, then they send it back to the voivodeship office, and this is seen as you would receive it. Okay, so. So the Polish authorities think, okay, it waited for 14 days for this person didn't pick it up during the 14 days, so right now we don't have the possibility to even contact this person because we don't know their current address, so we think that he or she already picked up the decision, so all the legal consequences related to the decision are ongoing from this, after this 14 days period is over, okay? And why I said it's important during why you receive the negative decision. Because when you receive the positive, it's great, yes? I mean, you should know about it, but you don't have bad consequences of this, of course. And when you receive a decision where it says that you are not receiving your temporary permit of stay, then you have 2 weeks to submit the appeal against the decision, okay? Because in Polish authorities are operating like this, that you have always the decision of the first instance authorities, and you submit the appeal to the higher instance, to the second instance authority. And the second instance authority always has to verify if this previous decision was correct or incorrect, yes? So it's good thing that you have the possibility to submit the appeal because it allows other people to verify if the previous decision was correct. But it's always limited in time, so it's always you always have 14 days to submit the appeal. So imagine that you didn't give your current address and you didn't receive the decision, and then you missed the time to submit the appeal. Then there is nothing more we can do. I mean, even if you come to the lawyer, we will verify the dates, yes, and we will see that unfortunately there is no time anymore to submit the appeal. So it means that your negative decision became final, and you are obliged, because it's always like this, that if you receive your negative decision concerning your temporary permit of stay and you didn't submit the appeal, you have 1 month to leave Poland. You have 30 days to leave Poland, okay? So you really have to watch out those dates. Because after this 1 month period, so 30 days, your stay just become illegal, and yeah, it's very problematic. Yeah, they can start a deportation procedure. Yes, so
that is very important.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So then you submit. You have 14 days to submit the appeal. And then also with the second instance decision, you can still ask the Polish court, the Polish administrative court, to verify it. So you have the option. So also remember that when you get the negative decision, it's not the end of the world. It's not something that you should be worried. I mean, yeah, it's worrying a bit, but you still have the options. Yeah, you still have the ways to receive the permit. So sometimes you get the negative because you didn't submit some documents, and you can submit it after, yes, and you can still receive the permit. So you shouldn't be worried. You just have to watch the dates and just be aware that kind of the clock is ticking, yeah, and you have to do something in the given time frame. Okay. Here I put all the reasons why you can actually receive a TRC. Of course, the most important one that probably most of you have is the working one. Then you can have one to conduct the business. You can have a TRC for reuniting your family. I will be talking on the next slide about it more. You can have a permit of stay for staying with a Polish citizen, to study, to conduct research. Those Those are mostly the same reasons for which you can also get a visa. Yes, there is also the option other circumstances. When you don't feel in any of the other categories, you can always try to get a temporary permit of stay for these other circumstances. But there is a free decision of the authorities. So it's, for example, when you ask for the advice, it's hard to tell me which kind of documents you should submit for the other circumstances permit of stay, because it's always decided on the case by case decision. Talking about the family reunification procedure, I know it's very important because it's type of stay that you, as a foreigner who is already here in Poland, can receive for your family member who is still in your country of origin, and then this person can receive. First, they receive a decision concerning the permit of stay in Poland, and later on they receive the visa. So it's another way around than in the normal case, okay? Because it's granted to the family member because you are already here. But it's also not always the case that you can apply for a reunification with any of the family members. Polish law says that you can only reunite with your spouse, so husband or wife, and your children. Okay, so you cannot, unfortunately,
Reunite.
with your I don't know, mother, father, sister, uncle. You cannot.
You cannot.
No,
Yeah.
you cannot.
We cannot.
And yeah, with this, there's nothing I can tell you more. I mean, with they are very specific only, and they are talking only about the spouses and only about the children. Okay, and also with the also important that if you want to bring, for example, your spouse or your children, you have to have a document that proves your family relation. So with your husband or your wife, you have to have a marriage certificate. Okay, with your children, you have to have a birth certificate where it says that you are mother, you are father of the children, and you have to provide this document as a proof that you are really related to those people. I don't know how, maybe it's your case, but it's important to mention that concerning the marriage certificate, it always has to be a civil marriage certificate, not religious one. Okay, so it's not enough to have a religious given by your church, by your denomination, or I don't know. So this is one thing, and the other thing is that not every foreigner can apply for something like this. To apply for a permit of stay for your family member, you have to have already for you or a permanent residence here in Poland, or long-term residency of the EU. Later on I will tell you about the difference between the two. Or you have international protection, so you were perceived as a refugee here in Poland. Or you stayed already for 2 years on a temporary permit of stay without the interruption. So you have a temporary permit of stay altogether counted for 2 years. Okay, yeah, and then you can apply, or you have a humanitarian stay. So those are the situations in which you, as a foreigner here with this type of stay, you can apply for a permit of stay due to family reunification. Okay, and in the application, in order to receive this kind of permit for your husband, wife, or children, you have to prove that when they will come to Poland, they will have health insurance. So we have to. Sometimes I know that it might be perceived that there is no reason behind it, but you have to do like this, that you have to buy the health insurance for them in advance, yes? Even before they arrive, you have to buy health insurance for them. And you have to show that you have a stable income, and that you will provide them on all the financial like you will support them financially, and that you will give them place to stay, okay, if they arrive. And also, as I mentioned, you have to provide the documents concerning like the marriage certificate or the birth certificate, and also the copies of their passport. And all those documents has to be certified by the Polish consul. Okay, so you have to make a copy of those documents and go to the like, I mean not you, but the person who is there in your country. Go to the Polish embassy and they get the stamp of the Polish consul that they are certified, yeah, by the consul that they are original documents. Okay, so it also takes a lot of time, and you have to
Obligation to submit.
you have to show that you have all the documents, yes, in order to receive this kind of permit. And like I said, when you get the positive decision, that you send this decision to your family member who is still in your country of origin, and then with this decision, they go to the embassy, to the Polish embassy, and they receive a visa based on the family reunification. Okay. Now I want to talk about a bit, describe some situation
Illegal.
how your stay in Poland can actually become illegal, because I think it's very important to pay attention which situation you should actually avoid. Yes, you should be careful about. So first, like we already said, the situation when your visa expired and you didn't apply for a permit of stay. It's important that you don't have to get a final decision concerning your permit of stay during the validity of your visa. You don't have to. The most important is, like we were saying, you're applying for a permit of stay on the last day, okay? But if you don't do this, during your validity of your visa, you can enter the illegal stay. Yes. You can also enter the illegal stay when your TRC procedure is going to be discontinued. Yes. So the Polish authorities, for example, summons you to give the fingerprints, but you didn't receive it, you didn't show up, you don't reply, you don't see the information, and so they see, okay, so this person, for example, is no longer in Poland or no longer interested in receiving the TRC, so they can discontinue the procedure. And then you also, from the moment when you receive this decision about the discontinuance of your procedure, you have 1 month to leave Poland. And if you don't leave Poland during this 1 month, you also start being illegal, okay, in Poland. The same thing with submitting the additional documents. So when you are applying for TRC, they sometimes ask you to submit new documents or some documents. You get a letter saying that you have to still add some documents, yes, and you have to do it. And if you don't do it, you might receive a negative decision. And with the negative decision, as we were saying before, when it becomes final, you also have a 30 days period to leave Poland. If you don't do it, your stay becomes illegal here in Poland. And when your stay becomes illegal for some of those reasons, but there are some more reasons. Also, you might receive a decision which is the obligation to return, or the obligation to leave Poland. This is a formal procedure, a return procedure, so-called also deportation procedure, yes, which is managed by the border guards, and during which they actually try to, oblige you to leave Poland. Yes, so it's very important that you try to fulfill all the conditions and obligation during your stay before you even receive this deportation decision, because later on with the deportation decision, it's very, very difficult to do anything. You cannot work and so on. Okay, so and you just have to wait for the deportation or leave by your phone. But one thing also about like a positive, like I'm not here to talk only about the negative side here and then the illegality of your stay, but I think it's very important to to pay attention to those. But if you already have your TRC, you have your temporary permit of stay, you receive your Carta Pobytu, yes, so the temporary residency card. And it's important that it allows you to re-enter Poland as many times as you want, together with your passport. Always remember that you have to have your passport with you. The card itself doesn't allow you to travel, but during the validity of the card, you can go back and forth how many times you want. It's important that it also allows you to travel without any visa within the European Union. Yes, so you can travel to another country. You have to have carta and passport, and then you can travel. And it's important to watch the expiration date. Sometimes you receive it for 1 year, sometimes for 3 years. It depends on your situation. And if it expires or if you lose it, you just have to apply for a new one. And it doesn't mean that if you lose it and your temporary permit of stay is still valid, you just get a new card. You just have to pay some money to create a new one. But if it expires because your temporary permit of stay already expires, you have to start a new procedure to receive a new temporary permit of stay. Okay, so it's not that easy. And if you apply for a second temporary permit of stay, you also have to remember that you have to submit the application for the temporary permit of stay at least on the last day of the validity of your card. It's the same like the visa, with the visa, yes? At least on the last day of the validity of your carta, you have to apply for a new temporary permit of stay. Yeah. And now about the permanent residency, because I know that sometimes it's misunderstood, and it's a bit difficult to see the difference, because there are two kind of types of long-term residency that you can have. One is the permanent residency, and the other one is long-term residence of the European Union residency. Actually, for this permanent residency, it's harder to get than the long-term European Union residency. Those are the reasons why you can get a permanent residency. It can be given to a child of the foreigner who already has the permanent permit or the long-term residency of the EU permit. Okay, so if you already have your permit and your child doesn't have it, then you can get this kind of stay for your child. Or is a child of the Polish citizen, or when you are married for 3 years to a Polish citizen, you can get this permanent residency. Or you were here in Poland already for 4 years, based on the temporary permit of stay, but not the temporary permit of stay. It has to be a temporary permit of stay, which is given only to people who are working in occupation which is desirable for the Polish economy. This is like a list of the professions that are perceived as desirable by the Polish authorities, and only if you have this kind of temporary permit of stay, you can, after 4 years, you can get a permanent residency. Or you stayed here for 5 years after receiving the refugee status or subsidiary protection or humanitarian stay, or you stayed 10 years after receiving tolerated status. So, as you can see here, you don't have the possibility to get a permanent stay because you had the temporary permit of stay because of working. It's impossible here, or because of studying. Yes. So that's why there is this other type of long-term residency, which is the residence of the EU, and here. You have to stay for 5 years, and then you can submit. This is the most important condition. So you have to stay 5 years, and then you can submit the application for the residency of the EU. And you have to show that you have a stable and regular income, and you have to show that you have a health insurance. But the fourth thing, which is very, very important, you have to pass the exam of the knowledge of the Polish language at the B1.
B1.
Okay.
That's the problem.
So I know it's difficult, yeah.
Polish is so difficult.
There are certified schools which where you can pass the exam, and without there are no option to be exempted from this obligation. Yeah,
Oh.
okay, something like this.
Nobody knows. Very Polish.
And yeah, B1, you have to put it in your application in order to receive the permit. Yeah, and kind of the fourth, not fourth, I'm not counting correctly, but generally I want to say a few words. I know that
International
maybe it's not
protection.
your situation, but generally speaking, you always have a right in Poland to apply for international protections. So if you think that you cannot go back safely to your country, it means that in your country, for example, you experience or you would experience the persecution, and you cannot be safe there, then you can say in Poland that you want to be protected by the Polish authorities, you want to receive a refugee status, because your own country cannot provide you the protection, okay? And the international protection can be given to you usually as a type or as a refugee status or a subsidiary protection. Those are two main ways of giving this protection. But it's always like, I have it here, I think. You have to prove that in your country of origin, the country of which you have the passport, you are afraid to go back there because of the persecution based on the race, religion, nationality, political beliefs, or belonging to a particular social group. It sounds a bit vague, but for example, in some countries the situation of women are worse than men, so then you can apply for protection because you are a woman, or because you are a member of the minority or something like this. So. And the second type of the protection is the subsidiary protection, is the lower level of the protection, but it also it's usually given to a person who's afraid of going back to the country because there is a risk of experiencing like physical degrading human treatment or punishment, or there is a general risk to the civil population, for example, in the situation of war. Yes, so then, if you think that it is your case, you can submit the application here in Poland for international protection. You always submit the application to the border guards, not to the voivodeship office. But most importantly, it doesn't, like, if you receive the refugee status or if you receive the subsidiary protection, you cannot go back to your country, because it would be because when you are applying, you're saying that you cannot be safe in your country. So when you receive it, you cannot go back there, because then this protection will be taken away from you. And this with international protection, it's also worth remembering that it doesn't matter if you have a visa, if you are illegal here, or if you have a temporary permit of stay or a permanent permit of stay. You can always apply for international protection, because the situation in the country can change. It doesn't matter. You have to just be on the territory of Poland, and then you can apply. Okay. Yeah, and in this procedure, I mean applying for international protection. You can stay on the territory of Poland. You can receive a social assistance in like a refugee center. You cannot work for the first 6 months, but after 6 months of your procedure, you can start working legally in Poland. You have a medical care, and you have an assistance in learning the language. Yeah, but it's only when you apply for this international protection. They also take your passport away from you to the deposit, because you cannot leave Poland at all. I mean, you don't even have the passport, so you cannot move. Yeah, you have to stay. Yeah. And I also want to, I think it's kind of the last procedure that we have in Poland, the return procedure. I already mentioned why and how your stay in Poland can become illegal. But it's important to know that it is not like this, that when your stay becomes illegal, they can deport you right away. It's not that they can just, I don't know, stop you on the street and just say, oh no, you're mister, you need to be deported today, let's go. Yes, it's not like this. They have to initiate the whole procedure, they have to issue the decision, they have to give you a right to submit the appeal against the deportation decision to the second instance authority, and only after the second instance authorities give you the decision, this decision can be executed, meaning they can be enforced. Yeah, you can be physically taken away and deported. So first of all, it's very important that you. If you get the information that they want to initiate the deportation procedure, you try to get all the information why and what are the reasons, and when you get the first instance decision, you try to, I mean, the best is to maybe to reach out to us, to my organization, or to any other lawyer, but you have to submit the appeal within 7 days, so it's 1 week, okay? So when you receive the deportation decision, you really have to be quick with taking the actions if you don't want this first instance deportation decision to become final, okay? Because you only have the 7 days to appeal. And in the deportation decision, this is big, because it can happen then that, for example, your like we said, your visa expired, but it's only a few days, and they stop you on the street, and they checked your documents, and they see that your stay is already not legal here in Poland, and they give you a deportation decision, and you decide that you actually want to go back to your country, yes? And you want to go back, and maybe you decide to come to Poland later on, after a few months or 1 year or something. So you can do it because in the decision, they always, or not always, but in most of the cases, they give a time to leave Poland by your own, okay? So they give you the decision and they say that, okay, Mrs., you have 14 days to leave Poland, okay? So you have to, during these 14 days, you have to just leave Poland. Yeah, I mean, and also, very, very important, leave Poland means also leave all the European Union countries. Okay, so it's not that you can leave Poland and go to Germany. No, it will not count. Yes, you have to. I mean, you don't have to go back to your country of origin. You don't have to go back to Philippines, but you have to. You can go, I don't know, to Turkey, for example, or I don't know, Emirates, or like not European Union country. It doesn't have to be your country. If you decide that you want to leave your country voluntarily, so you within this given time frame, it also, I mean, it's recommended because the International Migration Organization, the UN International Migration Organization, they have a program which helps with leaving Poland voluntarily. So if you, for example, don't have a financial means to buy the plane tickets, you can reach out to them and they will help you buy the tickets and will help you with all the formalities. Okay, so so this is important to remember because the IOM organization is cooperating with the border guards concerning the returns. And on the deportation decision, they usually give you the entry ban for some time. It can be very short. They can give you the entry ban for, I don't know, 1 month or 3 months. Entry ban means that during this period you cannot enter European Union, yes? So it means that if you get this decision, you decide that you want to leave Poland within a given time frame, and during the next, for example, 3 months, you cannot get a new visa and arrive again to Poland. If you get, for example, the entry ban for 3 months, you can, after half of this period of time, so after 1 month and a half, you can ask the Polish authorities to just delete this ban. Okay, so it means that after 1 month and a half, you can ask the Polish authorities to erase the ban, and if they agree, you can come back out only after 1 month and a half. Okay, so it's. I mean, usually they in the situation when you just enter the illegal state because of your visa expire or because something went wrong with your permit of stay, they usually give a permit, the entry ban for like a few months, maximum up to 1 year if you stayed for longer. According to the law, the maximum they can give is 5 years, but usually it's only when somebody is deported due to security reasons. Yes, so they committed a crime or something. Yes, I said at the beginning that there is also something like humanitarian and tolerated stay. This is the type of stay that can only be given to you by the border guards, who are deciding to give you the obligation to return decision, okay? And they see during this procedure that you already have your family here, that you have a private life, that you are well integrated in the Polish society, that you are connected to the community, and they can decide based on those reasons that they cannot deport you because you have your private life here, and if they would deport you, it would infringe your private life. Yeah, for example, your children would stay here and you would have to go or something like this. So the border guards can give you this kind of stay, like humanitarian stay. This is this kind of the last option for you if you already are getting a deportation decision. You can still try to convince the Polish authorities that you already have a private life here and you cannot go back to your country. Okay, and the tolerated stay is kind of the least protection you can get. It's given only to the person who already should be deported, but they don't have the passport. They are not able to get a new passport from the embassy, and so the deportation cannot be executed. Okay. Sorry, let me take a sip. I already mentioned all the different types of stay that we have in the Polish law. If you have a question later, we can come back to this. But at the end, I think 3 more information that might be important for you as a people who are here in Poland. So according to the Polish law, there is something like registration duty. Okay, it means that it's related to Polish citizens, but also to foreigners. Whenever you're living somewhere, you should register in the Urząd Dzielnicy, so the district authority here in Warsaw, or if you are living outside
For
of
the
Warsaw,
children.
usually Urząd Gminy, so the commune authority. It's not that in the law that there is a penalty to not do it, but it's better to do it because, according to the law, you have 13 days to let the authorities know that you are living there. You have to provide. The only thing you have to provide, you just go to the district authorities and you show your address and you say that you are living currently under this address, and they just give you a form accepting this information. And if you are already registered, you can get a PESEL number, which is the number that all the people in Poland have, and it's very helpful. For example, when it comes to medical assistance, because always at the doctor they ask you if you have a PESEL number, and it's very helpful. Yeah, it's not that it doesn't affect your stay. Okay, it's just something that's quite helpful when it comes to your stay here in Poland. And this is one thing. Concerning the health insurance, in the Polish law it says that in the life-threatening situation that they always have to provide you medical assistance. Okay, so there is the life-threatening situation. You have to receive all the necessary assistance to like save your life, okay? But all the other medical procedures are paid as long you are not insured, okay? So if you have an insurance, if you have a health insurance based, for example, of the different reasons, but on your work contract, you can get an insurance as a student, you can be insurance because your family member is insured, you can be insured because you're registered as an employed person, and then you have an insurance. So if you have an insurance, you don't pay for the medical care. But if you are not insured, then for some of the procedures they provide you with these procedures, with the medical procedures, with the medical assistance, but then they give you the bill, yes. So and sometimes it's very high. So it's important to pay attention to being insurance during the whole time, because you don't pay only for the life-saving procedures, yeah. Yeah, and the last thing that I thought that might be interesting for you, there is something like upbringing benefit here in Poland.
Wow, 800
So
na.
if you have a child which is under 18
Before
years old,
500 lang.
and you have a temporary permit of stay, and you have this access to the labor market, so you have to have on your card dostęp do rynku pracy, access to the labor market. You can apply to the ZUS, so social
Security.
yeah, social security, to receive 500 zloty monthly for every child which is under 18. Of course, the child has to be here with you in Poland, yes?
800.
Now it's 800.
Yeah, 800.
Before 500.
Yeah, 800. Yes, and the only thing that you have to prove that is that you have a temporary permit of stay which is longer than 6 months, and that you have an access to the labor market. Yes, so you don't even have to prove that you are actually employed at the moment. You have to show your carta
Pobytu.
Yes. Yeah, and you just receive it. Currently it's also. This is something new, that a child has to go to school. So if your child is in the school age, they have to go to school in order for you to receive it. Okay, so it's I mean, of course, if they are younger, they don't have to, but if they are at least 7 years old, they have to go to school, and then only you have a reason to receive this amount of money. And I think that's it. I think I've
Thank you for attention.
amount of time I was given. If you have any questions, I'm here. This is our email address. And if you have any questions concerning the legality of your stay, you can always message us. I put the card on the table at the back. You can take the card and you can ask for the appointment also with the lawyer. I have to mention that usually we don't take the normal TRC procedure. So if somebody is only applying for a TRC, we usually refer to another organization. But you can always write to us, and we will try to at least give you some brief information, and then refer you to another organization which is doing only the TRC. And we are mostly doing the deportation procedure and the international protection. But also, for example, if you experience discrimination in your workplace or in any place, or you have some problems with the police or the crimes or something like this, related to your nationality or your ethnicity, then you can always come to us and we will try to figure it out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I have a question.
About my friend, last time I asked her,
Yeah.
because